Welcome to Chasing the Beats, a show dedicated to weeklybeats.com artists, their songs, and stories from the 2024 season. I'm your host, SQF, and today's guest is Jegasus. All right, we are live with Jegasus. Welcome, man.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me, SQF. This is so cool and a huge honor to be here, man. Thank you so much for inviting
Yeah,
me.
glad to have you. And I think maybe this is just your communication style, but you always seem very excited.
Yes, yes.
Uh,
I use a
and
lot of exclamation points.
yes. But as someone getting comments every week, like pretty religiously from you, it felt like I had like one of my biggest fans. So
Hell yeah.
I consider you one of my biggest, most excited, rabid fans because of your excessive punctuation and just always listening to my stuff and commenting. So thank you for that.
Oh, dude, thank you so much. That's very kind of you for you to say. And I mean, it's well deserved. You make cool ass shit.
Oh,
So
thanks,
like
man. Thanks.
might as well like comment how I liked it. So
Yeah.
but
Appreciate it.
yeah, that is something that I very much enjoy doing, is like listening to other people's like weird stuff. It's like, yo, I like this sound, this is cool,
Yeah.
this makes me feel this is awesome.
Yeah, you delivered and commented a lot on my stuff, and it was, a pleasure to listen to your stuff throughout the year and dig a little bit deeper preparing for this show.
Oh, cool.
And to kind of get right in, the standard question, was this your first weekly beats?
It was indeed my first weekly beat. it
Awesome.
was it was the Let me think. Yeah, I had just started making music really in 2022.
Okay.
Um, and then I started getting into the M8 in 2023. And then in late 2023, I like found out about weekly beats, that it was soon starting again. I was like,
Mm.
oh, this sounds like a cool endeavor. Let me try, and I'm sure I'm going to fail spectacularly. But it ended up like it it worked.
You didn't fail spectacularly.
I was able to do the thing. So yeah, this was my first weekly beat, and I am incredibly surprised that
Yeah.
I was able to keep to the schedule.
I was as well. It was one of those, like, before the year started, I told a friend of mine, like, yeah, I might do this like weekly beat challenge thing. And I was like, so that means like this time next year I'll have like, 50 songs or so. And I was like, I can't believe that. I can't.
That's not possible. That's not
That
humanly possible. Why
it's
would you?
me. I like that's not possible. I know me.
And
But
so for you, you got into weekly beats because of like someone else told you about it?
I had been M8 curious
Okay.
and but hadn't really, I had a deluge at the time and was kind of into the MIDI sequencing thing. So I had kind of explored this tracker flow that I was just sort of like unsure if I would really like. So that's when I joined the Discord and started seeing talk about this weekly beats challenge thing, and like was at the same time making some music but not really finishing everything.
Yeah.
The
Sounds familiar.
typical reasons that people are like, yes, I need a little structure in my song making. So
This is quite the structure, right?
yeah, yeah, at times maybe too much.
every week, something
every
new.
damn week. Yeah, yeah,
Uh, yeah, and this is something that I felt at the end of it, like having gone through the process was phenomenal. I feel like I grew incredibly as a music. I feel like I can use the badge musician now,
yeah, yeah.
but man, I don't think I can survive doing this again. This was a lot.
But at the same time, it's like maybe I could.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe
exactly.
I
Like
could.
now we're already like mid-March, right? I'm thinking like, oh man, I kind of this I miss this. I miss being able to just sit down. Well, not being able to,
Yeah.
but being compelled to go forward, make a song, post it, and like have this whole bunch of people who are going to listen to it.
Yeah, I recently submitted one of my old Weekly Beats tracks for, the M8 meetup,
Oh,
and
nice.
I was, like, digging through my songs on my M8, and I was like, "Man, I kinda still like some of these, like, this is cool," and, like, I do kinda miss just, like, cranking some shit out every week,
Yeah,
but at the same time, like, I don't like, there's elements that I don't miss,
yeah,
but I think that, that structure is nice because it forced me to, like, okay, instead of dicking around on my phone before I go to sleep, I'm, like, making stuff on the M8,
yeah.
for, like, a good 30 to an hour, just dead time, and then that kinda like, I was messing around with it yesterday 'cause, I had some time to kill before an appointment, and when I got home, like, when I was going to bed, I was like, "Oh, man, that that thing I had going earlier in the afternoon, like, I gotta get back in there and, like,
You
check
feel
it
that itch,
out."
right?
Yeah, like, it's starting to get the itch again. So, I think part of the emotional wave of Weekly Beats was
Hmm.
getting over that, like, I have to make a song and finding more of that, like, oh, I gotta figure out this next part, or I gotta, like, there was a cool idea happening that I had to, like, put it aside for a second and, like, let me jump in, like, there's some magic about to happen.
I just want to get right back into it. Please give
Yeah,
me like 30 minutes in the day so I can just
something
sit down.
crazy is gonna happen.
Yeah, no, that's a really really cool feeling, and it's so awesome when that came up because of the structure you built from making songs week after week after week. Like
Mhm.
you started, like I know you just interviewed Murder Cat, and it was
Yeah.
like a big like M8 is great episode. This is this is gonna be another one of those. I'm sorry to the listeners out there.
Well, so far we're just in the music creating and the tool happens to be M8, but, I guess we are saying how,
Yeah.
like, bring your doll to bed, people.
Yeah, exactly. But it very much is that, right? Like I literally bring this little thing with me
Yeah.
to my bed, and it's most nights, maybe half of the nights. It's the last thing I'm fiddling around with before going to bed. Instead of like scrolling on my phone, I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh no, wait. Let me just do this nonsense." Most of the
Mhm.
times it leads nowhere. It's just like I make a little loop. It's fun, and then I start a new project, and I do another one, and I start a new project, and just keep on that process. Every now and again, something like, "Oh shit, I think I can go a
Yeah.
little further. I think I can go a little further."
You create, like, a magic little nugget or, like, some experiment is like, "Oh, I swapped out this part and, like, this is good."
Yeah, yeah, totally. Those moments are fucking gold, man. Those feel so good when you're just like quiet in your little corner in the little zone. And for me, I end up laughing out loud at the stuff that I for some reason like I'm like, oh yes, this rules. This is awesome.
Yeah. Or I catch myself, like, tapping my foot. I'm like, "Oh, oh, yeah, someone's enjoying this."
Yeah, totally, totally.
But,
Those
like,
moments are so cool.
during a weekly beats year, every night before bed is, like, religious, like, I just gotta jump in there and, like, try and
Mhm.
make some stuff.
Yeah.
But as soon as you get into the, like, I have a deadline approaching, the fun is gone. But that's why you gotta kinda stay away from the, like, I've got I've got plenty of time. I Once I
Yeah.
start arranging, like, this thing's gonna fly together and, like, everything's gonna be fine. Just keep experimenting.
Yeah, and here's I think there were a couple of weeks where I felt that, like, encroaching, "Oh, damn, the deadline is coming. This is
Must produce.
must produce." But most of the time, I feel like, especially after the first few weeks, I noticed that, like, I learned how to crank out something.
Yeah.
It could be super simple. It could be a super simple 4 on the floor and just like a a one stab synth going boop boop. That's and it would be fine, right? But like getting into that routine, I think really, really helps you, at least for confidence sake, that
Yeah.
you can crank something out.
Yeah.
It might be shit. A lot of times, I mean, seriously, listen to my catalog. A lot of them are dumb shit, but a lot of them are, most of them are stuff that I'm really proud of.
Yeah, there's always you may not like this song in a week, but I think that, like I've talked about before, it doesn't matter how much effort or how hard you've tried. There's always going to be a song that you look back on that you're like, yeah, I just don't really like that. And
Yeah.
sometimes it hurts more when you're like, I put a lot into that and like I still don't like it.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting the mental game of just like creating stuff on a schedule. I guess it's something that I never really thought that I would come out of weekly beats with a better understanding or of just like encountering this creative deadline every week that's supposed to be fun, and the
Yeah.
mental game of like still having it be fun and not putting so much pressure on yourself about what comes out. And then you are sort of rewarded by the community that's like, whatever
Oh,
you
yeah.
put out, someone's gonna find something they like about it, or even just give like a thumbs up, which is fine by me.
Yeah. Totally.
It's just
Totally.
nice to know that there's some ears on it. So it's an interesting mental thing that I think can be translated to like other creative areas or even other just like life areas.
Oh, yeah. Totally. Totally. And going to one of the things that you were talking just a moment ago about, like, being worried that you're working too much on something and then like you end up not liking it. I think one of your previous hosts, it might have been Murder Cat, that was talking about this. Like, they sometimes uh, they're trying to achieve perfection and they fiddle with it too much and then they break it.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That was Murder Cat.
um that is a problem that don't think I've ever had, because like I don't I am so flippant with the stuff I make. Like, ah, fuck, it's
It's
good
like
enough. Whatever.
it's done.
Yeah, it's done. Fuck it.
Yeah,
Okay, next. So that is, I think that is, it is very obvious from my approach from the stuff I make that it is not polished. I think it's served me well to stay in this, like, creative, like,
yeah,
let's just throw a bunch of shit on the wall and see what sticks.
yeah. It's like anytime like just yesterday when I was making some stuff, I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna copy this line. I don't really like these other parts. I'm just gonna kill those and stick with this bass line and like see what
Hmm.
happens. And then I'm like, actually, I like the bass sound, but let me like delete everything but the drums and like change the bass, and then I like came up with like a whole new part, and then
Oh,
I was like, these two kind of fit together. Okay, we'll save that for later, but like, that's why I was like, I
yeah.
gotta hit this in the bed because there's some good things
There's
happening. I'm
something happening here. I can't leave
starting
this
to
alone.
starting to get the itch. So yeah, it's interesting to just I've never done a creative challenge like this to
Yeah.
be able to learn how to push past those like mental hurdles of like, I have to do the thing when it's like, why there's no pressure.
Yeah, I know. Like, who the hell is gonna knock on your door at like 5 past the deadline and say, "SQF, the police, you didn't send in your weekly beat"?
But I will be disappointed in me.
Dude, I that is rough, right? That
Yeah.
is that is
Yeah.
the big thing. That's it. That's the that's one thing that I really want to try to take to the next year, if I end up
Yeah, you're
doing it,
still yeah.
is like I really really want to give myself the freedom to just not make stuff a couple weeks,
Yeah. Yeah.
cuz like it's I proved what I needed to prove to myself already, that I
Right,
can do
right.
it.
Yeah, it's like I prove to myself that I can do a 52-week streak,
Yeah,
like, okay, check, done. Uh,
with
You know, but
minimal
like
cheating.
but like Ked Break,
Oh, damn, yeah.
like I'm still amazed
It
by
is
by
it is
him.
beyond me. I don't understand
Like talk
how.
about a streak.
I know, right? What did he say, 2020 or 2022 weekly?
2022.
Okay. Yeah, that's wild, man. Mad respect.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That
Mad
is,
respect.
and and I I think that if I were to engage with something like that, I would need to be able to give myself like some like breathing room for some stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cuz like there are times where like just life happens, and like, oh man, I'm on a trip. I don't know, just shit happens, and
Yeah.
you can't plan around everything. The M8's great, but it's not every like
Yeah.
it can't work around work problems.
Right. If it could make me money,
Oh, dude, yeah.
that would be great, but,
Ooh,
maybe Tim's working on that.
no, okay. So now you struck something interesting. You said if it could make me money. Do you have any interest in like making money off of your music?
I don't know that it's possible. Like, I feel like that's a no-brainer of like, yeah, sure, if I could, but, like, there's actually great artists that can't make money,
Yeah,
Like,
not these like weird experimental musicians
there's
who are
just
doing it.
there's so many people out there that are way more talented than me that, like, can't make money.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
and it's unfortunate. I'd rather our society put money towards arts and music and make that a uh, a livable career versus like bomb makers and missile designers.
But SQF, what would be of the interest for STEM if we don't put dollars in STEM and bomb making?
Oh, it's
Then
true. It's true.
then
STEM.
really,
Yeah,
and I,
that
I
is the
say this,
future.
I say this as a hypocritical engineer.
I also have an engineering degree, so and used
um,
to work for bomb making companies. So
oh, that's
yeah, yeah.
great too.
Not
Yeah, yeah.
anymore. Not anymore. I'm in the coffee biz now.
Sweet.
So before you got the M8 and started making music, what was your music making history prior?
So this is I'm going to take you on a long journey here.
Let's go. Judging by your post descriptions on Weekly Beats, like this might be one of those 2-hour episodes. So hang on, people.
So when I was a kid, my middle brother was the more musically oriented one. So my parents put him in like music classes, and we had a piano, sorry, not a piano, a keyboard at home. So I always had like keys around, right? So
Mhm.
every now and again, I would go ahead and fiddle with the keyboard. That's how I kind of got my start in music, just messing around with it. We we bonded a lot over video games and old school video games like NES
Yeah.
and stuff. So we would play stuff from Mega Man 2 and Mega Man 3 on the keyboard, and he would like show me, "Oh, this is the melody." And I couldn't play like, separate hands. The right hand plays the melody and the
Yeah.
left hand plays the chords. I could never do that. But I used like maybe both hands to like jointly play the melody. I could do something like that.
Yeah.
That's what I did for like my childhood. Then I didn't
Professional
touch
noodler.
professional noodler as a child, but like, I mean, I couldn't come up with anything
Yeah.
myself, right? It was that and some music from Bach that I really really liked. So many years later, in my 20s, I go to undergrad. I learn about the samba drum group. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to mention, I'm Brazilian. I grew up in Brazil.
Got it.
So that's why my university had a samba group, many samba groups. Each college had their samba group,
Oh,
actually.
wow.
So I learned about that, and I was like, I want that. I want to bang on a big fat ass drum. I want to do that. So I joined them for a year, and then, life got complicated. A bunch of stuff happened. I just dropped music altogether. Then in 2021, I watched Bo Burnham's Inside,
Oh, okay.
and that special lit something inside of me. I was like, I, I need to be part of this. I This is beautiful art. This touches me so profoundly.
Wow, okay.
I need to make art like this. I mean, obviously not like this. I'm not going to be able to do that, but like, I need to engage with music making. This is
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
I searched for some samba groups near me, and I was able to find one. I was living in Austin at the time. I found out that the biggest samba group in the United States is in Austin.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, oh, hell yeah, sweet. I joined them for a while, but then I moved away. I moved to where I live now in Houston, and I lost that. And just one evening, actually 1 week, I was planning on going to my in-laws' place for Thanksgiving, both me and my wife, and I couldn't join her. So I had to stay here to take care of the dog. We couldn't get a
Mm.
dog sitter. So I just was just hanging around, bored during Thanksgiving. I was like, hey, wait, I have an old keyboard. Maybe let me see if I can hook that up to the computer. And I hook it up to the computer. It's like, oh, let me see if there's a music thing that I can. I downloaded LMMS, like a digital audio workstation that was free. I was like, oh crap, this is amazing. I started messing around with that. And then I immediately went to Reaper and I downloaded every single free VST I could on the face of this earth. I started exploring with that, and I spent like 6 months with that. And I noticed, like, oh, wait, I think tracker stuff might be for me.
Mm.
I found the M8 and I went with the headless setup.
I was
I,
about to ask if you,
oh,
gateway
yeah,
drugged with the headless.
gateway drug completely, and that
Same.
that that had me hooked. I started on with headless. I gave that a shot. I was like, oh damn, this really clicks with me. I am like, I get the buttons. I can actually like compose with this, because I couldn't see myself like doing
Yeah.
anything other than the actual keyboard keys. So that's been my musical journey. I picked up M8 headless in like April or May of 2023 and haven't looked back since. That is my go-to music making device.
So do you only have a headless?
No, no, no. I've since gotten
Oh,
the
okay.
the the hardware unit.
Got it. Got it.
I at one point I got the Model 1, and as soon as it came out, because it was the main thing I was using all the time, I was like running out of the battery often.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah.
I was like, no, I'm probably one of the people who will really benefit from from a Model 2. So
I
I
ended
got
up
this.
getting a Model 2 as well.
You
I didn't
you and
really yeah, I didn't really need it, you know? I bought a replacement battery for my Model 1, which definitely helped, and for those that don't know, you can buy a replacement battery on Adafruit for, like, $20,
Oh yeah, that's a really cool thing
and
about
you
the
can
M8
replace it
too.
yourself.
A lot of the stuff is replaceable. I somehow scratched my screen on the Model 2, and I was able to swap that out like no big deal.
Awesome.
I think the screen for the Model 2 is like 17 or $20,
Oh, that's
something like
amazing.
that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you very much, Tim, for making this so easy to service by ourselves.
But yeah, I didn't wanna do, like, the whole waitlist thing, but one day I was on Discord, and it was like, "Oh, we have, like, a handful of Model 2s that are on sale this morning." And I was like, "Well, let me
Oh,
just go, like, go to the checkout and see, like, what the shipping is like."
yeah.
And then I was like, "Well, while I'm here, I'm just gonna hit buy."
I mean, if I'm
Uh,
here,
yeah, yeah. But then I ended up selling my Model 1 to someone locally for a good deal, so
Oh, that's awesome,
yeah,
man. That's
so
awesome. That's something that I miss. Well, not I can't say that I miss because I never really had a music community nearby all that much, like music makers like me. But I don't have much of that here in Houston. I haven't found something like that. But someone recently posted about like a DIY synth meetup
Oh, okay.
group, a monthly thing. So I'm excited to join that as soon as I can.
Yeah, yeah. I should probably get more involved with the local synth community here, but I've got a bunch of friends, and we get together and, you know, jam out and
Ah, that's
make a
cool.
bunch of junk, you
That's
know?
that's really cool. I don't think I saw in your list of songs any collaborations with other folks during Weekly Beats. Did you?
I did not collab, and
Okay.
that's one thing that I wish I had pushed
Yeah.
myself to do, but I think every week I was just so consumed with, like, doing my own thing that I was like, "I can't imagine trying to, like, do this schedule and collaborate with someone."
Yeah.
So, kudos to everyone who has done that.
I did. I can claim to have collaborated for one song. Well, actually two, if you count the big like one of the final collabs where like a bunch of
Oh,
artists
right,
like
yeah.
I made some stems and I sent it in, but I didn't make my own version of the song. So
Got it.
there was that. I think that was for week 51 maybe. And there was another song that that I collaborated with Mew Mew Mew, aka Spark, aka Grave Cat,
Yes, another cat, the
another cat from
receiving
our
end of the murder cat, I guess.
exactly. So that one was really cool too because like I had I had some I think he sent me a beat. He was like, "Hey, do something with this. Like make goofy raps on top of this." And then I he sent me the beat and I was like, "Okay." I spent a few days like writing stuff and recording my vocals and I did some like a little bit of audio fun stuff for the background. I just sent it in, and he was the one who actually put everything together.
Nice.
That is the only way I think I know how to collaborate now. I am not
Got it.
proficient enough to like, okay, let's sit down. You send me a bunch of stuff, and I put this together. Dude, I don't understand how people are able to do that. Like what Gravecat did is magic to me.
What other ways did you I mean, it was your first year as well, but what ways do you think you sort of challenge yourself over the year on top of just the challenge itself?
So I think there were two big challenges that I gave myself throughout the year. One of them was inspired by Ineffable Twaddle, who I think at some point, either before Weekly Beats had started or maybe like early on when it shortly after it had started, he mentioned how he had used the previous Weekly Beats to work on his music making on the M8, and he wasn't going to use any presets. He wasn't going to use any instrument patches
Oh,
from anyone
okay.
else, like baking all instruments from scratch. So I think after week 10, I think I kind of was able to eschew from using pre-made instruments. I still used a bunch of samples, obviously,
Yeah.
but I think most of my patches, maybe not all, but something like 95% of my patches after week 10 were all like made on the M8 by myself, like for that song, trying to arrive at something interesting. That was that was a really cool and very useful, very useful tip. It was like when I saw Ineffable Twaddle write that in Discord, I was like, that's nonsense. That's who would ever be able to do that? That's not something humans can do. But no, it is. It totally is. It super is.
Yeah, I definitely got more into sound design because I think I had just exhausted all of my existing patches. I was just like, I'm kind of tired of these now. Like, I want some new stuff. And then I would just mostly hypersynth just go in and like mess with stuff and be like, okay, that sounds pretty cool. You know, and do some external gear re-recording. So I it definitely like coming from the Deluge. I didn't really do any sound design on the Deluge.
The Deluge isn't super like isn't sound design forward.
It is. I think I just got it at a time where I was still pretty new to synths in general.
Okay.
So on top of like the Deluge can do so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh and on top of that, figuring out how to do the sound design, like I was just like, I don't know, there's so many good presets and preset packs that I was like, I got plenty to work with.
I'm covered, right?
I'm covered. But there's not a ton of instrument packs for the M8, at least that I have come across. So I was like, I'm definitely more a fan of making my own, and now I'm on that randomize train.
Oh yeah.
I've been making some weird FM randomized patches lately.
So here's the thing. Most of the time where I was making my own patches, I stuck to where I felt comfortable, which was wave synth and macro synth, like the two simplest synth engines on the M8. When it I've tried to use hypersynth, I can only make Bs. I can
Ah.
exclusively make B sounds. It
uh,
is I know, like, okay, apply filters and stuff, and you're able to like comb, I don't know. I have a really hard time designing and shaping sound so that it's like actually interesting and pretty. But yeah, that's using the FM synth. That is the next thing that I want to be
I
able to
mean,
like mess around with.
I'm terrible at it, but I've just been doing the like randomize the entire page thing and being like,
Yeah, yeah.
all right, that's something we can start with. Or like, that just sounds like weird. I'm going to save that. Like, does this sound like wind or like, I don't know. Like, I'm just gonna keep it. This
Nice.
is gonna come in handy, I'm sure.
This will come in handy for sure. Let me put this in my back pocket
Yeah, yeah.
and name
I'm
it
gonna
appropriately.
I'm gonna use this. But most of the time, I don't really know exactly what I'm doing in FM. But now that
Yeah.
there's more wave shapes available
Oh
for
yeah,
the
with the new
FM,
firmware.
it does seem. like, that you could do a lot more with
A
it.
lot of damage.
A
Yeah.
lot of damage. Can make a lot of terrible noises with it.
In the so you asked me about the challenges, right? The synth patches was one of the big challenges I gave myself. The second challenge, which was a bad idea, but I kept with it anyway, was the other music making endeavor that I often participate in and actually help coordinate is the M8 Community Jam. It's
Nice.
Sleepside Metro, Murder Cat, and myself. We help just like move stuff along and keep the machine moving forward. And we publish one album of
Cool.
everyone who submitted a song once every 3 weeks.
Murder Cat is pushing me to release
Yeah,
on
get
that,
on that
so
train, man.
I'm gonna try to whip that magic from yesterday into a full song, we'll see.
Sweet, sweet. So like that was the other thing. I wanted to maintain m- keep keep making songs for that, for the M8 Community Jam and also Weekly Beats, but keep them separate. I wanted to
Whoa.
make separate songs for both of them, and I was able to stay that way for most submissions. I think I cheated my own challenge about
Wow.
twice where I had to send and
No
one of
wonder
your
you don't wanna
picks.
do this again.
So yeah, once every 3 weeks, I had to make two songs,
Oh my god, man.
but it was only once
Yeah.
every 3 weeks, so it wasn't that bad.
Sure,
And
sure.
and also with the attitude I just told you of like I just whip some bullshit up and say like, ah, whatever, it's fine. Like that is very much how a lot of the stuff ended up getting made. Like I would spend most of the week working on one of them, and then Sunday would arrive when both of them were due. I'd submit one, and then in like, well, shit, let me make the other one. Try at the last
Oh,
minute.
okay. Okay. Yeah. So very much, one got the majority of the love.
Yeah, yeah. For most of the time, I think one of those two songs got the majority of the love. Totally. And one of the songs you picked actually is one of the times I cheated and sent the same song for
Okay.
both.
Yeah, I think I picked one where you were like, "I don't know, this was not a great week." Uh,
I said that many weeks.
you said a lot many weeks.
Dude,
So
I do want to mention I do write long posts, sometimes including lore. That is that is
you you're really good at one keyboard, that's for sure.
Yeah, when I was in undergrad, I got this like itch for writing and I started writing like a blog essentially. It was a personal diary, but it was like online for everyone because I wanted to be open-minded and the world should know my inner
Live journal
thoughts.
age?
No, this was a blog spot, but I think it was like
Alright, yeah, yeah.
same time 2006 to 2008
Yeah,
ish.
yeah.
So, like the cringiest crap of my most deepest and inner thoughts are still
For
public
the world
online
to read.
for the world to read.
Now you put them in songs.
Now I put them in songs and the weird posts that accompany them.
Yes, you gotta have something good to read while you're listening.
Yes.
Uh,
So I took that. I feel like from a very early age I had a lot of a strong urge to just like write and talk a lot, as you probably noticed so far.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, Murder Cat was actually like, "I'm sorry I talk too much." And I was like, "No, man, this show runs on talking, actually." Like,
It's kind of the whole point of a
yeah,
podcast, right?
like, if you're not talking, I've got a lot of work to do. So it's
Yeah, no.
helpful when you chat.
No, it is. That has never been a problem for me. I've always been very, very talkative, and also I think one thing to my professor's chagrin, I've also been the guy that raises his hand in class all the time. It's like, excuse me, professor, I didn't understand this. Can you go over that
And the
again?
rest of the class is like, "Ugh."
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I know. Some people would come over and tell me, it's like, oh, thank you so much for raising your hand. I had the same question. But I'm sure like 90% of the class was just fucking over it, you know?
Uh, well, should we get into the tunes?
Why, absolutely. Why not?
All right, we're gonna start it off a little bit on the slower side with "My Body Just Needs to Cry Sometimes." Here we go. All right, that was "My Body Just Needs to Cry Sometimes." A slow start to the first songs, but I think it's a beautiful song. Tell me more about it.
Thank you so much for the compliment, man. I think this paired with another song that's called, I think it's like I Miss the Old Days or something like that, like week 50, 50 or 51. This is like I think one of the prettiest little things I've made, and I probably one of the prettiest little things I'll ever make. Um,
Oh, let's not
the
limit ourselves.
the the inspiration for this one was that like I every now and again I have these like super strong mood fluctuations
Yeah,
where I notice that I am like very much wearing my emotions on my sleeves.
yeah,
I'm like I get a knot in my throat like super easily and stuff like that, and stuff just really connects with me, and I'm like
mm,
on the verge of tears very often, and it's like very emotionally vulnerable, right, and raw.
yeah,
And the week that I think this was week 10, it was one of those moments where I was like in the middle of it, and I was like, okay, I think I want to try to capture this.
yeah.
And I got an E piano sample that a user from the Discord, from the M8 Discord server shared, a Go piano sample, and I just started messing around with that, and I was like, "Oh shit, this is really pretty." That I started off with just the bass chords. Bun, dun, dun, bun. I was like, "Ooh, this is nice. It's super low. Let me see if I can make something like more high pitched to
Yeah.
match that." And it was like, dude, this is incredible, this is awesome. I super was like in the moment. I think I probably wrote and completed that song over the course of like just 2 days. It is
But
I
you're able to capture kinda what you were
Yeah,
feeling
yeah.
and
I feel like it was one of those rare moments where I actually was able to like put what I was feeling on paper.
yeah.
And And after the fact, I noticed that the song I made sounds a lot like someone else's song. It sounds like Azuria Sky's Aquila. It's one of my favorite songs that's on the M8. That's done on the M8, or at least used with the M8.
Oh, okay.
I strongly recommend folks listen to that.
I'll
It's
check it out.
beautiful. Azuria Sky Aquila. Whenever people ask me, like, oh, what's a cool song to show the capability of the M8? That one.
All
So
right.
I noticed that, like, some of the sounds that I use remind me a lot of that song, but clearly, Azuria Sky's an actual serious musician. but but yeah, this was a really raw emotional one to make, and I was like, okay, let let's try to do it. And I was super happy that I was able to actually achieve the thing I was trying to, which is super difficult.
No, that is it's always great when you can capture that mood into a song, and like I've said maybe too many times now, that that since things end up like a journal, it's sort of just
Oh yeah,
like repeats or reinforces the feeling that you were trying to capture, because it's like you
totally.
can almost kind of go back there and remember what it was like.
Here's an interesting thing I felt throughout writing stuff for Weekly Beats, though. I in several episodes I hear you mention that exactly about, like, oh, this is a journal, and at a lot of times my entries feel like a journal entry. I'm like, this crappy thing happened at work. This is what I'm doing with my family, right? I'm very much taking a journal type approach, but
Yeah.
because this is gonna sound cringy and awkward, but because I really like my own music, I like listened to my songs like fucking all the time in from Weekly Beats. So I kind of lost that attachment of each song to one
Got
time
it.
of my life. So throughout the year, like whenever I listen to one of those songs, my brain immediately goes to, oh, this is the song that's going to come next from the Weekly Beats week, just because I've heard that playlist
Oh,
so
because it's
many
almost like a big
times.
album to you
Yeah,
now.
it's a gigantic 52
That's
song
cool.
album.
That's cool.
Definitely songs that I prefer more than others and stuff. Not, but like, yeah, I do have to confess, sniffing to sniffing my own farts quite a bit in this.
So does that mean that it was easier for you to pick 3 songs?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
It was one of the hardest damn things. Oh my goodness, man. I've gone back and forth. I told my wife about my picks, and she's like, "Oh, but you took this other one out. How could you? Why didn't you do this one?"
And then is
Yeah.
that when you added that one back in?
No, it was the other way around. So
Oh,
the the second song that we'll play, it's one that I've swapped in. The one I took out was Funkiezinho Milky Shakey. It's the carnival song, the carnival funk song, where I like teach Americans to dance and speak Portuguese and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah.
Very cerebral stuff, you know.
Well, speaking of very cerebral songs, we're gonna jump right into "Don't Touch My
Don't
Pepperonis."
touch them.
Nipple, 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 nipple.
Don't touch my pepperoni. Don't touch. Don't touch. Don't touch. Don't touch. Don't touch my pepperoni.
Nipple, nibble, nib nibble, 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 nib nibble, 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 nib nibble, 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 nib nibble.
Don't touch my pepperoni. Don't touch. Don't touch. Don't touch. Don't touch. Don't touch. Don't touch. Don't touch my pepperoni.
All right. It's hard not to laugh after listening to Don't Touch My Pepperoni.
Dude,
This is one that you just mentioned that you traded in.
yeah.
So what made this one of your top 3 picks that ousted another song?
This ousted Funky Zingu Muki Shaky because I thought that if we didn't play Don't Touch My Pepperonis, the Weekly Beats Discord community would riot, and I did not want
True.
that on my hands. I did not
True.
want burnt cars and broken windows and shops on my name.
Yes, there's a lot of lore on the Discord around this song.
I'm so dude, I'm so happy that something so profoundly fucking dumb connected with people. It's
Uh,
and like the way that the song came up also, and like the way that it was created is so fucking dumb. It was just like me making this bass line while like sitting on the couch watching TV, and I was just playing the bass line, and I was like showing my wife like, "Hey, check this out." Hit play, and she's listening to it, and then she's like poking me in the chest to the beat. And at one point, I think she actually says, like, as she's poking me, like touching me on the nipple, she's like, "Nipple, nipple." I was like, "Oh shit, this is brilliant. I need to record this." So like, I just sampled her voice, I probably straight into
Amazing.
the M8, and then I was just doing just that bit, and I can't remember where the "Don't touch my pepperonis" came from. If it had been something like I said the day prior or something, and I was like, "Oh shit, this is perfect. This is like a great name for the song." So I just named it "Don't Touch My Pepperonis." It's like, okay, cool. Continued making the song,
Done.
but like it didn't have me saying "Don't touch my pepperonis" in it. And then I was like, wait, let me see if this fits.
Let me see.
And then like I just recorded it in, and like, oh yeah, this fits with the beat. Let me chop this weird shit up and do some nonsense. And
And
yeah,
had you tried to polish it, you would have messed it up.
I 1000% would have. I
Yeah.
there is some stuff I would like to polish. Like I feel that the synth that comes in like at the with my voice saying "Don't touch my pepperonis," that synth is super loud and overpowering. I maybe would, if I knew anything about mixing, I would try to rein that in, but I don't. So that's what you got.
It's beauty in the imperfections.
Yeah, yeah. We can call it that. It's no. Who was it that I can't remember who mentioned this? Like, no one else is going to be as good as making a song like you as you
Then
are.
you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So like I've got that going for me. I make
You've
I
got
make
it. We've
shitty
all got that
mixes,
going for us.
shitty mixes, but fun stuff.
Well, we're going to keep it on going with A Fighting Chance.
Sweet.
right, that was a Fighting Chance. And
Yeah.
in your description, you mention that you can imagine playing this in a post-apocalyptic Terminator-like scenario, which I
Yeah.
100% agree.
Yeah. So this came up, like the song came up. I think I started with just those like intro keys, and I started building up some of the like little synths and stuff in the background. I didn't have any idea of what I wanted to do, but then this like post-apocalyptic thing started coming up, and this feeling started coming. I was like, "Ooh, this is cool. Let me start leaning. Let me start leaning in that direction." So I started going, building up more of that and those kinds of sounds and like the sweeping wow,
Yeah.
wow stuff. And like I started building that up, and I noticed that there was something about like it felt like the song had a tinge of hope in it too. And I have no idea how that came about. So I was like, ooh, maybe I can make some cool like piano sounds or something to sound like the resistance is fighting back. And I think a lot of the like there's this piano melodic run and then a synth melodic run that I have no idea how I made, but like feel like a big middle finger to the machines as the humans are
Yes.
fighting, and they're like they actually might win. They might win. So the way I make stuff is completely random. I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing, right? Do you feel that way when you're making stuff?
Yeah, like people talk about, oh, I had this like idea that I wanted to capture, and I'm like, no, man. I'm in there like kind of like this sound, and like, what if I like repeated it and like pitched it up and down, like,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, okay, that sounds pretty good, and then I just keep doing that. Like, I admire people like Paisley Frog that is like, I'm gonna go
Have a
make a
vision.
B-52 song,
Yeah.
and that's what this sounds like. It's like, no, I'm just in here experimenting and stopping when I'm like, okay, I like something about that.
Hmm.
Let me make something else that goes with it, or just like keep mashing things together until I'm like, all right, that works. And then sort of, I think over the year I got better with like, okay, let me figure out how to like build and like make the song feel like it's going somewhere rather than just like a bunch of parts mashed together.
A bunch of parts mashed together is very much what this song was. This song has like it's just a bunch of shit. Like it sounds there is too much going on at the same
That's my
time.
signature as well.
But like for some reason in this particular song, I feel like it's still pretty cool to like listen into the a bunch of little parts, and this happens with one of your picks too. I'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
But most of my songs, the structure is like dead simple. Like most of my songs, I don't know what a traditional like intro A, chorus
Yeah.
B, like I don't know how to do that. M-
Yeah. I kind of gave up on that structure.
Yeah, I feel that most of the time when I make a song, it's like I the song structure follows like whatever the fuck I'm finding out in the moment. Like I
Yeah.
start off with one synth or maybe a piano sound because that's a lot of times where I start with, and just like a little arpeggio or like up and down chords. And it's like, okay, let's do that. And then the next part brings some percussion in. And then the next part brings some like harder synths in, and then another part is going to make everything go silent but like one instrument.
Yeah.
Like most of my songs are that. It's like one instrument comes in, two instruments come in, a bunch of instruments come in, bunch of silence, and then the song ends.
But I feel like they still go places, even though like there may be some simple structure building them.
Hmm.
Like I think what you're talking about is like, adding or removing elements and dropping things out except for one instrument, like it gives
Yeah.
it this feeling of like moving to different sections.
I'm always worried though about fatiguing the listener with sameness, which is something that I'm really impressed with you, with like a bunch of other folks who are making stuff in weekly beats. I can't remember who it was specifically that like took their time and like they would have like one note and one chord with the synth mod like slowly
Right,
changing the
yeah.
shape of the sound and going down, and then a second chord and that taking its sweet time. And like as a listener, I listen to that. This is amazing. This is cool. I'm engaged, but I never have the courage to sit down and do something like that myself because I
I'm
feel
with
like
you on that, like, because I would love to make this, like, slow evolving ambient stuff that I enjoy listening to,
yeah.
but I feel like I'm too impatient to make that myself.
I
'Cause I'm
feel
like,
like
"No one's gonna listen to this, like, let's fucking get on the show here, man."
yeah, let's get to the melody. Let's do some
Yeah,
weird
like, let's
shit.
give the people what they want.
Oh yeah, and a chorus. I I don't
That's just
know.
a section that repeats.
I know. I mean, yeah, it's a section that repeats. I wrote a song with the chorus. I wrote one of my raps. I make a point out of saying, "Oh, this song has a chorus. This song has a chorus," or something like that.
Well, one thing I learned, like you just mentioned about I think you said something about not or like listener fatigue and not
Yeah, yeah,
playing the same thing. Like there's I think a fine balance between like songs you want people to have some familiar pieces that sort of make it a song.
yeah.
So I started kind of repeating some of the same melodies, but with a different
With a
instrument,
different voice. Oh,
different
cool.
instrument with maybe some changes. So there's still a little bit of like, okay, we're still in the same song. We're repeating some of these themes, but like you're hearing it in like a different way.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I don't think I've done much of that, of like hearkening back to stuff that the listener just heard, but with, adding that
Yeah.
variety.
Because
That's
if like if you're not repeating stuff in a song, then it's not a song.
then it's just poetry. It's just like
It's just a bunch of tiny little songs put together that like I'm sure there's this delves into, music psychology that I know very little about, but I'm gonna try and sound smart about it.
yeah. I'll nod
That
along, don't worry.
you know, they there's like an advantage to having some familiarity to the listener,
Yeah,
so that there's some expected things that almost make the unexpected things better.
yeah, yeah.
So, like, when you're repeating most of the same things, but you change one little thing, that's the sort of like unexpected thing that like makes music exciting.
It brings like this satisfaction, or what's the word I'm looking for? It's tension and release. It brings a bit of
Yeah.
this release to the listener.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I can 100% see that. I feel like that is something that I could very well build more into my music. And one other thing, we're talking about like music production and how like we go about making stuff. I'm curious, how do you deal with like critiquing and asking for critiques of your work and getting feedback about the stuff you make?
I think feedback is best asked with specificity
Yeah.
of like I would like feedback on my mix. I
Mm-hmm.
would like feedback on this particular melody or switching between these two parts. I think when it's too open-ended, you aren't getting anything that's very helpful,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
it's just like at a certain level, I think critique just is someone else's opinion, and I think
Yeah, that's
you can find you can find someone with that opposite opinion if you want, if you dig hard enough.
yeah.
But I think the whole point of weekly beats is to learn and evolve, but I think asking for feedback in a specific way or more pointed at what you're trying to get better at
Mhm.
is more useful for you to take and do something with.
Yeah. It's that's that is a very healthy way to go about it. And like I feel that I'm way too insecure about my stuff. It like I've been just talking about how I love listening to my own songs over and over again. It might sound a bit dissonant with that, but like it's a weird mix of like I love my own stuff, but also please, it's so sensitive. Oh my god, it's
Yeah.
fragile, right? I worry about asking for feedback from other people and like starting to like not like some things or like just taking it defensively, like.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know. I think I'm way too much of an amateur still to be able to like know how to take the criticism constructively and build upon it and like actually use it usefully. Even if I am like explicitly asking like, "Hey, what do you think about the bass sounds of this synth here? Is the bass line fun enough?" Like something super
Yeah.
specific. Ooh, man, that I I think I would have a hard time with that.
Like a hard time.
Dealing with someone telling me like, "Oh no, you should have done this," or this could have been even better if you did this." Right? If someone
Yeah.
saying you should have done this, that's
But I
probably
think there's an opportunity there to say like, "You know what? Let me try that." And
yeah,
if that's not my thing, then at least I like try that direction, because everyone makes songs differently. Everyone makes, you know, choices differently as far as just sound design or melodies. And if you're asking for that kind of critique, I think you have to be willing to at least try it on and be like,
yeah,
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 maybe there's something to learn here. But if I don't like it just because someone else said that it might be better a different way, doesn't mean that's the way I have to go.
totally, yeah, 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 and that's something I think I
It's like
also just
permission to try it, but also permission to
to
throw it
refuse it too,
away.
yeah, to throw it away
Yeah.
once I've tried it. I think
But I
I
think like the whole point of asking for critique or feedback
is to grow, right?
is
Is to
is to
improve.
figure out like am I repeating the same thing too much, or like maybe someone's feedback can unlock something that you haven't been able to unlock on your own.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I totally see that. I feel like I just need to overcome a few of these insecurity barriers to like no, if someone tells you that the volumes or whatever, the mix could be made
Yeah.
nicer, the percussion, like that's
You might be
it's
like,
good.
"Yeah, I noticed that too."
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. That's part of the music making process that scares me a little bit still of giving and taking specific music making feedback, not just like, oh, this song makes me feel like this, I like this sound, and
Yeah.
more specifically, ooh, this could sound better if.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But, I mean, I think the nice thing about the Weekly Beats community is, like, there's not a ton of people offering
oh
unsolicited
no, no,
feedback.
no, totally, totally, that is totally not the case. And the and the very rare occasion where it does, it's super duper respectful. At least
Yeah.
the cases I've observed and stuff, super super respectful, and that's something that cannot I can't believe how lucky I was that one of the first few music making endeavors, like the first thing, my first music making endeavor really was the M8 Community Jam, which was also really cool, super supportive people.
Yeah.
And then Weekly Beats, the second thing, which is like, holy shit, everyone is super kind, making a bunch of nice comments and saying how they like this part or that part of the song. That is incredible. I do not understand how this community was built,
Yeah.
but holy shit, is it magical.
It is a great community. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to keep it moving with the start of my picks. And I'm going to start out with The Empire's Might.
Ooh, all right.
All right, that was The Empire's Might,
Hell yeah.
which I would call chiptune castle storming dance music.
Yes. Yes.
It's an epic battle tune. Just got a great groove to it. I love so many of your melodies that you come up with, and
Thank you, man.
this one's
Thank
got
you.
a lot of great melodies going in it. And while still on the chiptune side of things, like I think there's a lot of great variation in sound design and like
That's really
parts
cool to
going
hear.
on and parts dropping out. So like we talked about a little while ago, like I feel like there are great defined sections,
segments, and
yeah, segments. Like it's a journey that I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit for.
I have no idea how that is made. I have zero clue. I take a phrase and I copy it. I take a chain and I copy it. I have no
And then
fucking clue
boom,
what I'm
you've got
doing.
castle music.
And then boom, castle music. Yeah, and it's cool and it's fun that you call this castle music. I mean, I also did call it the Empire's Might. There's like
True.
there's a couple of songs throughout my weekly beats, especially closer to the end. I think it's Worry and Hope, Usurper, A Fighting Chance, The Empire's Might, and Death of the Crown Prince. They all have this
Mm,
like royal castle empire evil force taking over the kingdom energy, which happened to coincide with US elections, completely
unrelated.
unrelated, just coincidence.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is something that for some reason was really coming up very frequently, and it was super cool to see like a bunch of different iterations of that energy coming out. And like this one specifically, the Empire's Might, is really dancey. It's like
Yeah.
it feels. And I was reading my notes earlier today about this song. I didn't remember this, that the the like kick and the clap, or a kick and snare, that come in at the beginning, that make it feel really
Yeah.
dancey, that was added in, like, I think almost by accident at the end. Like I was like, "Ah, let's see if this works.
Let's see if percussion
Yeah,
helps.
let's see if percussion helps." And it was like, holy shit, this gives it a
This is
whole
a
new
new
energy.
song.
This is a whole new song. This fucking rules.
Yeah, it
And
really makes it when the percussion comes in.
yeah, that I think that little moment at the very beginning of the song, when the percussion first comes in, might be one of my favorite little like musical nuggets I've ever made.
Oh,
It's like
nice.
it's at the end, like, I don't know musical terminology, but there's like these four bars or four phrases, and it comes at the last of those four phrases, and the beat just hits you in the face, like, "Oh, you're dancing, motherfucker." Boom. And it's it's so much fun listening to this.
It's great.
Thank you, man. I'm
Awesome.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy that translated to to the listener as well. Not
Uh,
not just this one listener.
yeah. All right. The next one is Gerudo's Wild Arms. Am I saying that correct?
It's well, I think it's Gerudo, but
Gerudo.
like it's from the name is from Zelda. I have no clue
Okay.
how it's
It shows
pronounced.
you I know nothing about Zelda. I'm a terrible person. All right. Gerudo's Wild Arms. Gerudo's Wild Arms.
Yeah, man.
I would say most notable feature is that just massive kick drum.
Doesn't stop.
And the way it's mixed, and it doesn't sound like you did this with any sort of intention based on
I
how you
did
talk
not.
about your mixing prowess,
It
that
was.
it
Go ahead.
just
Go ahead.
it sounds like just blown out and nasty, like we're
Yeah.
standing at the door of a club and like the PA is just like full blast inside.
Yeah, it's like a sound system that's 47 years old. It's gone through every single concert in the world, and it's like right here in front of you. You can hear how some of the like frequencies and stuff just aren't coming through because they're just shot to shit. Yeah, so the way this one came through, it was completely by accident. I fucked this up real bad, but it ended up being it. I guess it turned out to be a pretty happy accident because like one synth sound, I can't remember which one. I turned the volume up because I wanted to hear it a bit more in the mix, and then when I pulled that volume up, I noticed like, oh shit, I can't really hear this other thing. So I boosted the other thing. It's like, oh shit, now I can't hear this third voice. So like I kept doing this battle of like increasing the volumes of fucking everything. And this is how you get to every single sound being absurdly blown out. It's
Nice.
just raise every volume to the max.
There's just like a certain character about it that I was like, I gotta put this song in.
Thank you. I'm happy this resonated, and I have to admit, as I allude to by the song's name, Gerudo or Gerudo's Wild Arms, the main melodies in this song are stolen whole cloth. I do some like improv a little bit like to close the melodies out, but the melodies are stolen from Zelda and from a game called Wild Arms. The
Got it.
the song from Zelda is from the Ocarina of Time
They
game.
are tributes.
They are tributes, exactly.
Tributes to the original.
Tribute ripoffs. No, they're tributes. They're. I think this was a week where I was making. This was one of the weeks where I was making something for the M8 Community Jam, and I didn't have time. I really didn't have time to make something for Weekly Beats as well, so I submitted the same song. And the theme for the Community Jam that round was something along the lines of "Saddle Up, Partner." So it's like something westerny, deserty that I
Got it.
wanted to go with. I wanted to try. And the first thing that came to my mind was Gerudo's Valley song, which is a song when Link is in the desert, and it's one of my favorite songs from Ocarina of Time. I always had that melody in the back of my head. It's like, oh, this sounds kind of old timey westerny.
Yeah.
Let me throw this in. So I put that in, and I also remembered this other song that from a video game that I never played, Wild Arms, but a friend of mine when I was like 13 or 14 told me that this theme song was cool, and I listened to it and was like, "Oh, this is beautiful." It's like a whistling. It's one of those like whistling westerns, like dun 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 dun. It was super cool. And I was like, I'm going to steal that and put that too. And for some reason, they worked together
Oh, nice.
super
Nice.
well. I'm not sure if I had to like shift
It's a
one of them
tribute
up and
mashup.
tribute mashup that somehow worked, especially being both all the sounds being blown to shit.
Yeah. It works. It works.
Yeah, no, that was a really cool one, and it was 100% by accident that it sounds the way it does.
the the best outcomes are accidents a lot of the time. So
Yeah. True. Happy accidents. This is something that I also really enjoy about the M8. It is very easy to stumble upon just cool stuff because you're like often repeating the same like little phrase or little part,
hmm
and you drop some random shit down, And if you just played it once, it wouldn't look like anything. But like once it's looping and playing over and over again, it's like, oh wait, there's something here, and you can build other stuff around it. And it's really easy to like shift into the other parts and just add, oh, maybe I'll do this here, or maybe I'll add that over there.
Yeah, something about being able to loop the parts,
Yeah,
you hear more the opportunity to work with that loop.
just that little section or just that little one phrase.
Mhm.
If you want to isolate everything out, yeah, I have this like personal belief of like I I think it is silly when people attach attach a lot of personal value to products and brands. That's something I often like scoff and sneer at in my personal life for because I'm a
Unless it's
judgy
the dirty
bastard.
way, mate.
Unless it's the dirty wave, unless it's the dirty wave M8, and once that comes around, it's like, oh, but this thing is awesome. This is my whole personality.
Yeah, sorry everyone out there. Uh,
Yeah.
well, we are nearing the end of this
Oh
episode
no, so soon, man. This is
so
so
soon.
cool.
And my final pick is Dark Trance.
Oh yes, yeah, Dark Trance. That was that was a cool. I don't even remember exactly how this one came about. I have like no recollection really of making this one. I
Oh,
might
interesting.
I might have been no, I was already back home at that point. Oh, yes, that was it. I had done two dumb ass raps for my first two songs of Weekly Beats. The
Your
two
raps are quite good, by the way.
you are lying.
No, I'm like I think about doing rap and I don't think I could pull it off near as good as you.
All cats are beautiful has some bars.
I do have a few white boy raps in
You do
there.
have a few right boy
It's
raps,
true.
man, and
Yeah.
they slap pretty hard.
Man, I really appreciate it.
But like the thing with dark trance is I think I was trying to build a hip hop beat so that I could rap to. And I just got really into making the beat, and I spent a lot of times like, oh shit, this is really cool. What if I pull in a synth
Yeah.
here and make it like feel dark and ominous? And fuck, this is awesome. And then like, oh shit, the week's over. I don't have time to write or record lyrics. It's over. So
Well, re-listening to this one, I was like, this sounds very similar or could be not a rip-off of, but
mhm.
an MGMT style song.
Really? Oh, dude,
Yeah, I get like
that's super high
hardcore
praise.
MGMT vibes from it.
That's super high praise. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
That's really cool to hear. Um, I uh, I did not have any particular like style or anything in mind. Like I said, I just start off with random stuff and just
Yeah, man.
throw it on the wall. But it's really cool to hear that like it it took you to that. That's
Yeah.
awesome, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I really dig it. And that's why I was like, I gotta put this in my picks for sure.
Sweet, man. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Well,
uh dude,
our
this
time
is
is up.
awesome.
Yeah,
This
dude,
was
thanks for joining. And if other people missed the news from last week, Jegasus and I were supposed to record, but I got sick and was in no shape for recording like an hour and a half long episode. So we pushed it out and I gave myself some grace and skipped a week. Like we talked about, like
exactly,
it's
exactly.
okay. Like I
It's okay, right?
I proved myself on the whole streak thing. Like It's just a podcast. The
It's
world's gonna go
fine.
on. Yeah. So and we're back.
Awesome.
So
Yeah.
it's been a pleasure, and like I said at the top, you are one of my most rabid and excited fans. So it's been great
Hell yeah.
to listen to your stuff and get to chat with you, and you know meet you in more depth than just the comment section or Discord. So
Which was already quite a lot of depth because, as
yeah,
we've established, I
yeah.
write quite a bit.
Yeah, you're mad on that keyboard.
But dude, thank you so much for having me. It is a huge honor to be part of this podcast, to be part of this community. Thank you so much for doing this effort. It's so damn cool to week after week to listen to my cool weird music friends and the crazy shit that they do and the way
Yeah.
that they approach it, and like from the very wide spectrum of music making proficiency of folks like me who are just a dumbass with time versus like professional music score makers like
Yeah.
Javier Marquez, like crazy stuff. This is really, really cool. So
Yeah,
kudos.
it's been fun to do, and enjoy talking to all these different people that I've been a fan of over the past year as well. So yeah, thanks again everyone for listening, taking interest in it, and yeah, we'll do more.
Sweet, sweet. And to folks listening, do yourselves a favor and listen to SQF's Weekly
Oh,
Beats playlist. It fucking rocks.
well, thank you, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. Told you he's a rabid fan. All right, we're gonna close it out with Dark Trance.
Later,
Have a
y'all.
good one, everyone.